If you've been looking for actual advanced, sort of high-level organic dropshipping education and you're tired of just having to watch a bunch of 16-year-olds make a bunch of lifestyle videos flexing their fake Miami penthouse and M4s, well, then you finally made it to the right place. And what you're gonna learn from this video is how to go from your little measly 4 or 5 or 6 figures in lifetime rev, or just only having those random 4 and 5 figure wins, to consistently banging out big daddy months, 30, 40, 50K months consistently. After finishing off Q4 with a $55,000 month, in the middle of Q4 hitting 7 figures in lifetime revenue, and now looking back and realizing the past 4, 5, or 6 months, I've been consistently doing 50K plus a month, I thought I'd get on here and basically give you guys a lesson breakdown on all the little things I implement in my own little systems and strategies on how I've got here and how I've kept it so consistent. And I realize there's actually a pretty large amount of you guys out there that you barely get value from YouTube as a whole anymore, and you kind of just get left stuck. You have that random little win, you make 10K in lifetime rev, you have your first 50K month, or maybe you make 100K with one product over the span of a few months. But by the end of it all, you're still struggling, you still don't really know what your next move is, you still feel like you're kind of gambling with luck, and you just don't know what to do next. And that is who this video is for. This isn't gonna be another beginner style, dopamine filled video that you watch just for motivation for you to then go and not even implement any of it. And if that is you, you can go ahead and just click off this video now, because this video is for my 4, 5, and 6 figure organic dropshippers out there that take organic actually serious and treat it like a legitimate business. So with that being said, let's get into it. Okay, so here's what we're gonna cover in this video. First, we're gonna go over products, product stacking, my view on products, how I approach products, all that fun stuff. Next is gonna be teams implemented, some of them an absolute must if you're already doing 10K plus a month. Really, honestly, I should have put like 5K plus a month here. Then my personal view of content strategy and how I consistently generate millions of views a month, and kind of just how I approach content as a whole, now being a 7-figure lifetime rev organic dropshipper. Fourth thing is going to be my thought process and frameworks to keep consistently winning instead of randomly falling off after a month or two of good sales. And this is big. I highly recommend you keep watching all the way till the end, because every single one of these little subjects we're going over, there's hidden gems in all of them. But this fourth one right here is what I feel like a lot of you guys struggle the most. That's probably why you're watching this video right now, and it's probably why you're stuck at 4, 5, or 6 figures in lifetime rev. And then lastly, this is a fun one. Once again, I'm still dropping plenty of gems in this one, so stay until this one. It's gonna be why getting to high 6 figures or to 7 figures is actually easier than you think. So let's start here on products. Really quick, before we get into like my product stacking sort of product portfolio method, I wanna just talk about products in general and a better way to approach them. You want to look beyond just conversions per mil. There's a ridiculous amount of products out there now that convert 2K, 3K, 5K, 10K per mil. They're literally everywhere. I know probably like 40 different, like 4K plus per mil products off the top of my head right now. But outside of that, you want to still be smart about the products you actually choose to run, and not just running any and every product out there that just converts high per million views. There's other things out there that you want to factor in that are gonna allow you to, be more efficient with your time, scale harder, scale better, get more views easier and faster, actually get products up and running instead of continuing to do this thing where you waste 2 weeks on a product, go to the next one, waste 2, 3 weeks on a product, go to the next one. Now, there are a few different things that you can kind of think of in your mind to give yourself a more sort of advanced and better product criteria outside of, what makes a product convert good. We're looking beyond that. Once again, this is, a higher level, more advanced strategy we're talking about here. So we're not talking about this little beginner, a passionate niche, emotional, solves a problem, adds value to their life. That's not what we're talking about. We're already, beyond that. So we have other things to factor in. There are, a handful of things to factor in that I still factor in. You got your basics, like, are you even able to film for that product? Do you have the necessary background? Do you have the necessary equipment? Do you have the necessary things that would make sense for you to easily run that product? There's all kinds of different little things like this, but the main reason I brought this up, and the main thing that I've been focusing on really heavy the past like 4-ish months, is actually ease of filming. And I noticed in general, this keeps me a lot more consistent. It keeps me almost more motivated and like actually happy to continue doing organic and continue running products. And as you can see, within the last 4-ish months, it's started to make me a lot more money and allow me to be more consistent and actually scale efficiently. So at this point where I am with products, I'm genuinely out there trying to find, of course, not only stupidly intrinsically viral products, but there's other things you want to look into, right? Like, I'm looking at products, once again, we're outside of the basics, but I'm looking at products sitting there and thinking, not just, okay, this has a cool cool wow factor, this has whatever. But I'm trying to analyze what's something, if I just posted this product with a very simple concept, what's something that would be a natural comment that's occurring? Or what's something that would be a natural conversation to this product? I'm not only just looking for stupidly easy products to run, like products that really only take me 5 to 10 minutes to record for, because once again, it keeps you so much more motivated, and it allows you to, do our product stacking, product portfolio that we're going to get into in a second a lot easier. But just in general, it makes you more money. And here's what I mean by this, instead of me just continuing to ramble. Yes, ease of filming, that's a no-brainer. That is kind of the whole premise of this. But inside of these products, I'm also thinking of like easy virality. I am not trying to find products that I have to force to go viral. I am not trying to find products where, they convert at 10K per mil, so I'm gonna give it a month of my time and I'm gonna test it as hard as I can, and I'm gonna put 2 hours into each video. That sort of thought process, that intermediate to beginner thought process that I just basically went over and was just talking about, that is what keeps all of you guys not hitting these crazy numbers. That's what keeps you guys stagnant. That's what keeps you so slow. In my mind, not even just organic, but just business in general, I'm always thinking, how fast can I execute? How fast can I move? How much can I get done? If I'm gonna fail, I'm gonna fail hard. If I'm gonna win fast. I'm gonna get there fast. So I'm always thinking, and how can I do that next thing? How can I consistently execute? And when you're sitting there trying to force, this like barely high virality product just because it converts high per million views, or you're leaving yourself stuck on a product for a month, 2 months, just because it converts, this is going to cook you. But think about this. If you're out there running products that, convert 1 to 3-ish K per mil, because, normally the easier it is to film for and the more controversial and things like this, and just kind of the more engagement driving they are, the less they'll convert per million views, because if it's so intrinsically viral, it'll get views from a large amount of people that could care less about buying it because it's just so intrinsically viral. But it's okay when you weigh out the odds in the way I just did, because literally, let's just think about it for like 2 fucking seconds. You're gonna have like your huge aha moment. Think about what we just talked about, those sort of products, right? Those 10K per mil products, 5K per mil products that you're spending 2 months on, you're taking all this time on, they're super hard to go viral for, you're really having to push yourself, you're spending hours filming them. Think about that, your headspace, how much time you're putting into it, how much little results you're getting out of it, how long it takes, compared to if you're just sitting there running a bunch of like 1 to 3 or 4K per mil products that are stupidly viral, stupidly controversial, and literally take you 5.5 minutes to film, edit, and post. Not only are these weighing a lot less on your conscience when it comes to actually just getting rid of them and moving on to the next one, but it dramatically increases how much we can execute and how much we can get done. Not only that, but you looking for these, like almost making it a point that you don't even want to run a product unless all the heavy lifting is done for you. All of the virality is already getting carried by the product. And when it comes to you filming, it literally takes you 5 seconds out of your day and it's the easiest thing you've ever done. Just do the math. You can now run more products. They go viral a lot easier because you're being insanely intentional with the actual virality factor of the product. And you're sitting over here banging out 5, 6, 7, 8 products, some of them even winners, 1 or 2 of those winners, and you actually making sales from them. By the time, homeboy over here is finally finishing up and saying, okay, finally, after a month or 2, I'm gonna get rid of this product and move on. Start being intentional with super high virality and super easy to film for, you're gonna make more money. Now, product stacking. I like to think of this as like a real estate portfolio, right? The more products that you can just continue to stack, right? Like, think about it. You have this one winner over here that did, 50K month, 30K month, 20K month. It's kind of dying off, but it still made you 100K, 200K. You don't just want to get rid of that or, take that time and then move it on to another product. You want to stack this product. You want to just keep adding on to that portfolio. Like, bro, like last year, I think I was at like 6 or 7 products. That's the most products I was ever running at one time. Of course, creators were implemented. I was running products. It was a lot. Even now I'm at 4 products. But the point is, this is what's really, really going to help with that consistency, these 50K months. Because sure, yeah, that product's dying out. But if a product went and made 100, 200K, or even just 50K, that product still, no matter what, especially if you have a primed IG, even if you were barely posting or barely getting views, it's still going to go out there and do a few $1,000s a month. Now, I'm not saying this is the situation, but just as a quick example, just imagine you had 3 products in your portfolio that are already dying and you throw a creator on them, or you're just running them in the background. And once again, this is even easier once we're running these super easy to film products, high virality, because you barely have to put any time into them. So you have 3 products over here that are basically half dead, but still making a few $1,000s a month. And sure, 1 or 2K on one product is not shit. But once you get to 3 and 4 products that are all doing 2, 3, sometimes 5K a month, sometimes randomly popping back off and doing a 10, 20K a month, that adds up. So just simple math, 3 or 4 products that you have in the background on top and under your winner. Maybe you have a creator implemented, or they're so easy you're still filming them all yourself. You have this winner over here doing 20, 30K a month, and then you have, your portfolio in the background, 4 products doing anywhere from 2 to 5K a month. That is how you're banging out consistently 40, 50, 60K months. It's an absolute must. You have to product stack. Quit just getting rid of your winners to move on to the next. Throw it into your portfolio, take a little bit of your focus off of it to put it on your new winner, but still let them print in the background. And lastly, I have here, be okay with running saturated products. If it fits that criteria we were just talking about, stupid easy virality, it takes you 5 seconds to film. I don't care if there's 100+ accounts running it. The conversions per million views, 9 times out of 10, never take a hit because, actual market saturation is a lot harder to reach than you think it is. And as we all know, I've preached this forever, saturation within the organic space is actually a lot more about content saturation, which means it's just going to be a tiny bit harder to go viral with. But with us intentionally going out there and finding these products that have a stupid virality factor, then it almost basically weighs itself out. And, if you have a primed IG, which most of you do sitting around somewhere on your phone, or, it can take you a week to prime it with the niche growth method, engagement farming method, or you could just go buy one, then at that point, the content saturation barely even matters. Plus, you already have proof of concept. So I'm not saying it's a strategy to just go out here and just, let's only run saturated products. I'm just saying, literally just take saturation completely out of your mind. If it fits that criteria we just went over, go and run that product. Now, before we move on to how I view content and how to approach content at an actual high level, instead of this dookie sort of education everybody gives you on YouTube, this super beginner intermediate way of thinking about it, we're going to get into teams I have implemented and some that are an absolute must if you're already doing 10K plus a month. And like I already said, you could even push that down to 5K plus a month. It just depends on your situation. So as for this first team here, this is my fucking knight in shining armor. One of the best decisions I have ever made, best team I've ever implemented. This is the fucking fort to my knight. If, somebody had a gun to my head and said you could only choose one team to implement within your organic dropshipping business, you could only pick one, this is the team I would pick 10 times out of 10. As you see here, I have them on here as customer support reps on steroids. The best thing to call them, like the best term to use, is customer support reps, but I don't want that to kind of belittle the value. They're so much more than that. Now, understand that this is not your regular Joe Schmo. This is not that random Philippine kid you're paying $5 a month to respond to some emails with broken English, getting you a bunch of refunds, returns, and chargebacks. These guys I've trained for a year plus. They are hands down, you cannot go out there and find another one even close, not even 50% of the value these guys have within the organic drop shipping space. They not only work for me, they work for like 90% of Per Mill, my one-on-one coaching program, and all the students inside of there. They're trained specifically on organic drop shipping. Not only are they just absolutely ridiculous at saving you money, headaches, returns, refunds, all that bull crap when it actually comes to customer support itself. They do it at an insanely high level, amazing English, the branded emails, all these different things. They're even trained to be in your supplier's group chat, so they're dealing with that stuff, all these different things, but they also help with basically the entire back end of your business, especially when it comes to the customer side. It's not just emails. They're, messing with your chargebacks, responding to chargebacks. They're sitting there and they have all these little crafty ways of, making sure a customer doesn't have to get a refund, trying to keep returns from happening. They're in your supplier's group chat on their head when they're not fulfilling orders, going back and forth with your supplier every single day, like, hey, this customer needs this. Hey, this customer didn't get this. Hey, we need this shipped, etc., etc. There's so much I'm probably not even thinking about. These guys automate, I'm not even kidding, probably like 40% of your organic business. They are an absolute must for me. Now, second team is a website dev. A lot of people, there's kind of controversy around a website dev. Like, you have all these beginner, these guys we were talking about in the beginning of the video that literally barely know what they're talking about as is, just post a bunch of like vlogs every day and almost have no idea what they're talking about. For some reason, they're somehow against you having someone else automate and do something for you that somebody else can do just as good as you that saves you time, even though that's kind of the whole point of being a good entrepreneur and running an efficient business. So a website dev, I use a website dev. Not for every single website. I would say 90% of the websites I make, maybe I just randomly have a hunch or I'm bored one day and I bang out my website, or I'm doing something really specific that the website dev I use, I don't think he would be too amazing at. And now don't get me wrong, I still know how to create a website. You should know how to create a website, because then when you do use a website dev, you're not sitting there cooked when they mess something up or something's not right or you want to change a few things. The whole point is just to automate your time. Instead of sitting at your desk for 4 to 8 hours, you could be doing so many other money-making activities. Instead of doing that, you can pay somebody $100 or $200 for them to get it done just as good as you. And when we get into this product stacking and product portfolio we were just talking about, and you end up having, 3 products in the background, you're constantly onboarding this product, you have another product over here ripping sales, it ends up becoming a lot. And you could end up in 1 year hundreds of hours creating websites. In no sense of any good business out there would that make any sense at all for you to be doing that activity after you've already learned the basics of how to create a good website. You should 100% be automating and giving that task to somebody else. Then lastly, as part of basically like my main team are of course creators. The best way to approach creators is just to be fluid. There's no amazing strategy. There's no perfect strategy. I've actually seen a plethora of different strategies work for creators. Some certain strategies work for other people. Some work better for other people. But just as a basic overall premise around creators, kind of the best way to use them, best way to approach them, the best way to have them actually be a good component of your business is focus more on the quality of the creators instead of volume. You're going to be a lot better off, going with either you can be like super, super high quality with me, where I pick like 2 to 3 absolute dogs, absolute animals. One of my creators literally last year was like #1 on TikTok shop for like 2 months straight. This is what I mean by insanely high quality creators. I don't care if you end up at 2, 3, 5, 10 creators. You're just much better off really trying to focus on the quality of them instead of just going out there and, bringing on 50 to 100 random creators. It's just going to be a shit show. It almost never works out for anybody. And also what I have here with be fluid, what I mean by that is there's no right or wrong way to almost do anything in business or anything with an organic. And this is like a perfect sort of testimony to that. When you implement a creator, don't sit there and be like, oh, well, I've implemented a creator. That's how things are now. Or I've implemented this team. They're going to do that. Like, don't constrict yourself to it. To make it make sense by what I mean by be fluid, it's like, I've had a creator on all 4 of these products at one point. Some of them still running, and they've made majority of the revenue after I got it up and running. 1 or 2 of them, I'm sitting there and we're going back and forth. Like my creator kind of start dropping the ball, or, I wanted to get back up and running, or there's very specific things that would be too annoying to explain to him about the actual content strategy we're doing. And then I'll just kind of take over that product for like a month. And this is also why it's better to just have that kind of small little nice team of really high quality creators, because then it's even easier for you to be fluid. And so that's what I meant by be fluid with your creators. So now before we move on to my personal view of content, one of the actual best little mini lessons that's in this video. If you've made it this far into the video, I assume you are a 4, 5, or 6-figure organic dropshipping, and you genuinely take this serious and you're trying to run an actual legitimate 6 or 7-figure business. And so that's why I want to offer you the opportunity to join my advanced organic dropshipping program, which is the highest level of coaching that exists within the organic dropshipping space. We don't even take on beginners. To even be able to join the program, you've had to have made at least 4 figures in lifetime revenue with organic dropshipping. Inside of Per Mill's Inner Circle, not only do you get one-on-one access to me, we have 4 one-on-one calls a month. That's 1 call with me personally a week, but you actually have an entire coaching team made up of 4 of some of the best organic drop shippers in the space, all doing very high 6 figures or 7 figures in lifetime revenue that you'll be coached and mentored by every single day, day to day, from the day you joined the program. And on top of that, with being inside of Per Mill's advanced program, you get guaranteed winning products handpicked for you by me based off of your own product research. Basically, the program is specifically made for guys just like you to help you make your first or your next 6 figures with organic with our insanely high level systematic approach to coaching. This is not your random guru living in Miami that you join his program, he never talks to you, and you don't even know what the hell's going on half the time. Like I said, this is the highest level of coaching you can get within the space. The professionalism and systems we have in place is unmatched. This program isn't just us grabbing random people off the internet that want to make money online and teach them organic dropshipping. This program was made for organic dropshippers and organic dropshipping businesses that are already making a little bit of money to help you make a fuck ton more. You get those 4 calls with me a month. You get unlimited calls with 2 of your other advanced coaches, Austin and Samuel. You have a 24/7 group chat with me and your entire coaching team, and have access to us in your back pocket at all times to make sure that you're making the right moves, the right decisions, and thinking the correct way at all times. On top of that, as I already said, guaranteed winning products with sort of the hierarchy we have over the space and where we're at with, basically anybody that actually makes a good amount of money with organic being part of the program, whether that's coaches and other students. We have more leverage than you could find anywhere else. Not just when it comes to the guaranteed winning products, which is amazing, but even all the way down to things like suppliers, where you're getting access to the best of the best suppliers that are partnered with us that literally work for Per Mill's Inner Circle, but also access to all these teams, all of my connections, anything and everything that will benefit you making more money within organic, you get access to from joining the program. So if you're interested in joining the highest level of coaching that you can find within the organic dropshipping space, and you're a 4, 4, 5, or 6-figure organic dropshipper, I'm going to leave a link down below in this video where you can apply to join Per Mill's advanced program and then book a one-on-one call with me personally, where we'll sit down and we'll go over your entire organic business as it is now and how I may be able to help you. So once again, if this is something you're interested in, I'm gonna leave that link down below. It's gonna be that first link right below this video in the description. So now let's get into the rest of the lesson. Now we're gonna get into my personal view of content, my content strategies, how I approach content as a whole, and all of these different little methods that help me consistently generate millions of views a month for all of my products. So very first thing we got to go over, I got to unbrainwash you. I got to de-brainwash you from all of the horrible education that you've consumed all over YouTube and all over other places of the internet. And you got to get yourself out of this sort of sheep content mindset. I want you to right now understand and just get it out of your mind. Content, and with organic and getting to this high level, it is not just what you've been doing where it's just like you're constantly just trying to make as good of content as you humanly possibly can, and your only version of thinking of content or how you approach content is just, I gotta make good videos. I gotta try to make the best video ever. I gotta spend all this time in my videos, which I'm not saying don't try on your videos. You should always be trying to, create the best quality videos. But I'm saying in general, quit approaching it like the one thing that's just gonna help you make more money with organic is if you just keep getting better at content and you just keep making good videos. That is probably another big reason you are stuck or you're not at high 6 figures or 7 figures in revenue. I literally just mentioned this in like my last YouTube video. Once you get to this point, once you get to this level, you start understanding something, that organic is not a game of who can make that best video or the best piece of content. This game is so much more about identifying, tracking data, looking at things from a systematic approach, and being able to understand what a certain product or a certain account wants and continue feeding the beast. And organic just gets so much more simple and easier, especially on the content side of things, when you start approaching all of your content, all of your videos from a sort of systematic level instead of this opinionated point of view where you're just randomly going out there trying to create good videos. And how you want to start thinking of content as a whole, I'm not saying don't create good videos. You still need a really good baseline of creating a good piece of content. But how I always view it is like, there's a scale of 1 to 10 in content creation, right? I would be like a 10, right? I could go out there and create any piece of content. You could show me a video, I could go replicate it just as good and probably better. I can make virtually any piece of content at the highest level possible with a phone, right? That's like a level 10 on this 1 to 10 scale. The moment you get to like a 6 or a 7 on that scale, that's really all you need to be at to go out there and make high 6 figures and 7 figures. Anything beyond that is really just like vanity, right? You're just kind of better at making videos. You don't really get much out of it, especially when you start understanding how content actually works for us as organic dropshippers. Once you're at like that 6-ish mark, your content has a pretty good enough baseline for you to go out there and actually approach content how you should, which is at that systematic level. So you're going to start trying to really study and read your own accounts and products. They're going to let you know the content and what type of content that you should be creating. And if you still don't know what I mean by that, what I'm saying is like, let's just put a broad example out there. I see this a lot. This is something I see most common, so we'll use this as an example. I'll go look at an IG account. Maybe I'm scrolling on my burner. Maybe I'm looking at a student's IG account, whatever it may be, or a new student that just got in the program that doesn't know how to approach IG correctly because they haven't been in the program, right? And we're going over their game plan or whatever. And I notice, okay, they have a primed IG. Okay, they randomly went viral a few times, but now they're cooked. Now they're getting like 5 to 10K views per video, barely any 10K view videos. They haven't went viral in weeks. And what I notice is I'll go and look on their account and they have not re-implemented, even slightly split tested, or even tried to double down at all on these few concepts that printed views for them. And literally all of their most recent videos are just a bunch of, good pieces of content. They're good videos. They have good text hooks. They have good visuals. They make sense for the product. They're really engaging, but it's all just basically at random. They're just like waking up every day and saying like, okay, let me just go do a little bit of niche research and let me just, post a few really good videos today, make new good videos, right? This is what's going to help me go viral. This is what's going to help me get my next views. When in reality, what would have helped them continue to print views and continue to print sales is not by saying, okay, I've already went viral. Now I'm not going viral again. Let me just keep doing random stuff and trying to make all these good videos. But if they would have just simply went and studied their account and started trying to recognize, okay, this sound with this text hook performed really well. Okay, I've went viral a few times and every single time I go viral, it has this one base visual concept. So one thing that you're visually doing in the camera, let's just, irrelevant of text hook, irrelevant of sound, just the thing that you're visually doing. So your clips from, the first second the video starts to the second it ends. Okay, I've tried multiple different text hooks on that, multiple different sounds, and every time I post that visual, I go viral or at least get better views than the rest of my account. And what they do is they throw all that amazing beautiful, luscious data out the fucking window and just start going and doing a bunch of random bullshit and wonder why nothing's hitting. When in reality, if they would have just took the time to study that account, look through the data and say, okay, this text hook with this sound performs really well. Okay, this visual, every single time I've done it, it has performed better than most. And then taking that data and now making every piece of content, which this actually ends up happening a lot, but I don't give a fuck if you're basically almost creating the same video every single day, which actually is what ends up happening 90% of the time. Some of our most primed IGs, some of my most primed IGs, some of the, most primed IGs that I've primed and had ripping for students, 9 times out of 10, it's with 1 or 2 base visuals that they replicate every single day. So that means they're filming the same video every single day. And then 9 times out of 10, it's just like these 2 or 3 winning text hook and winning sound combos that they just continue to rinse and recycle on that account. And then boom, a few million views a week, 10K, 20K, 30K, 1 million, 50K, 60K, 200K. That is all because we're viewing and looking at content and our content strategy and what we're actually posting from this systematic and data-driven sort of point of view, instead of just saying, oh, let's just go out there and create good videos. And that is the whole point of this mini lesson. Taking the time to really study your product by not only looking at your own account's data, but you can also look at your competitors, right? You can look at some of his videos and see like, okay, every time he's going viral, it's really these simple concepts, not AI voiceovers, or not his concepts that are 30 seconds, or not his concepts that are doing stitch clips, but everything that's hitting for him are him just literally showing the product for a 10-second video. That is data. That's things you need to keep in mind. Now you can sit there and confidently say, okay, that means this product has the highest probability of performing good if I just continue to implement super simple video concepts, because that is what that product demands. But to finish off this little last paragraph, taking the time to really study your product by not only looking at your own account's data, but also your competitors, is not only going to start getting you more views, but also help getting products to pop off sooner, because you're actually calculated, your decisions are correct. Instead of you just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks, you genuinely already know what you should be posting, and then it's just a matter of time until you go viral. Now let's get into my thought process and frameworks to keep consistently winning. Keep making these huge months, get to 7 figures lifetime rev, doing actual numbers and feeling like I actually have a consistent business instead of randomly falling off after a month or 2 of good sales. This actually, I don't know, everything in here is so good. I keep saying, oh, that one's the best mini lesson in here, but this one is fucking gas, okay? So many of you, a actual ridiculous amount, and I see this all the time, do not understand what discipline is while doing one of the most discipline demanding business models that exist. You'll have your one little win, you'll go make your first 10K month, or you'll hit a fucking 3K day, or you'll do 100K in a month. I don't care the numbers you do, it doesn't matter. And then you'll randomly go on vacation, or you go and get comfortable with your one little winner so you don't start product stacking, and you just kind of like hold on, and it's like, oh, I don't want to put my focus anywhere else. I just have this one little product, and now I'm just gonna hold on to it. I don't really need anything else. This is printing so hard. Or you'll start trying to blow all of your money, which a side effect of, these basically children that just do nothing but flex lifestyle videos all over YouTube. You got to de-influence yourself from that bullshit. That's how you're going to end up broke, but not going to go off on that tangent. But yeah, you're going to start trying to blow all your money, which turns into you spending way less time actually doing the business model, because, you're going on vacation, you're going to buy a Rolex to flex on your IG story for your 50 followers, or, impress other people on Discord that don't even know who the fuck you are. And when you're doing all that, you ain't doing organic. And sure, it might not show up that first month or even that next month, and you might bang out another 50K a month, and you're like, dude, I barely do any work. I'm vibing, I'm printing, I'm that guy now, I know what I'm doing. But what you didn't understand is that effort compounds. Drill that into your head. Effort compounds. You do not see the fruits of your labor from what you did today that day. You don't even 9 times out of 10 see them the next day or the day after that. That 50K month that you went and made, or that 10K month you went and made, or that 2K day you went and had, was not from what you did that day. It's an accumulation of all that effort you were putting into your business months beforehand. And so then you're doing all these things I just talked about, where you're letting your foot off the gas and doing all this bullshit when you've barely made 6 figures profit, thinking you're that guy. And then 2 to 3 months later, you're broke, back to zero. Because the same way good effort compounds to get you that win, but no effort compounds to you achieving nothing, because there was no effort to compound into an achievement. And yes, if you're a per mil student watching this right now, a lot of these examples came from you guys. And I love you guys to death, but I'm using these as examples because, the students inside the program, they're lucky. They have us in their ear constantly chirping at them, constantly saying, yo, where the fuck you at? Yo, let's lock in. Yo, we got to run this up. Yo, you are slacking. If you're watching this video right now and you're not inside of Per Meals Inner Circle, you don't have that luxury. You don't have the big dogs constantly holding you accountable. So this is something you absolutely must make sure you don't go out there and do. You want to constantly be executing as much as humanly possible, going as hard as you humanly possibly can. When I start winning, I try to go as hard as humanly possible and take it to its fullest extent. I don't just want to win, get that little dopamine and think I'm chilling. That's why I am at where I'm at now in life. That's why I'm at 7 figures lifetime rev with organic now. That's why I have this amazing life. That's how I get to confidently take care of my amazing family, is because I don't just want a little bit. I want it all. And if you think you making 100K in revenue with organic, or even 300K in revenue with organic is a lot of money, and you think that's enough for you to think you're a baller and you know shit and you don't have to do nothing anymore, you are horribly mistaken and you will lose. My best piece of advice to anybody is just go as hard as you fucking can at all times, right? Like I have a few examples here. A new product pops off. Let me see how fast I can get another one to pop off, right? If I have a viral video, I'm spending a bit more time, here at the warehouse. I'm looking at what I'm going to be split testing next, the IG strat I'm going to implement, studying things, right? I'm spending a few more hours at work just because I'm looking at a win and saying, okay, now it's time for me to even get more down and dirty. Okay, I was working 6 hours a day. Now I'm working 8, 9 hours a day, right? I'm looking at wins. That dopamine, the same way it feels a lot of you like, oh, I got the dopamine from winning. I made a few dollars. Now I get to go chill. That shit drives me. That shit pushes me. That shit makes me want to go harder. So I go even harder working, putting in even more hours from that success. And once you can flip that switch, it's inevitable. You just keep fucking winning and you win harder and you go harder. That is the mindset you need if you want to keep winning. So lastly, this one's also a banger. This little mini lesson is also a banger. Why getting to high 6 figures and 7 figures is actually a lot easier than you think with organic. Now, don't get me wrong. Up until like 600K rev, I thought it was hard as fuck as well. I thought everything was bullshit. I thought you had to push through everything. I thought it was one of the craziest and hardest business models on the planet, just like all of you do. And it's so time consuming and it's so hard and it drains you mentally and it's so much delayed gratification and all these different things. But once you switch to this sort of mindset that I'm about to go over and this sort of frame of thinking, you'll never look at organic the same, and it will literally start feeling like a breeze for you printing. And you'll also, when you do have your down periods, you won't feel nearly as down. So first of all, just in general, once you implement and understand all of these different ways of looking at products, content, mindset, etc., from this entire lesson we just went over, everything starts making a lot more sense. And now what I'm about to say is going to make a lot more sense. Now, everything I'm about to name off here, it's not really like one subject. It's kind of like a few different things in terms of like ways to think that is just kind of feed your brain like, hey, this actually is pretty simple. Hey, this actually is kind of easy, to help you start thinking in this sort of framework. Now, first thing I have here is sometimes it really only takes one product and one primed IG and you have changed your life. You've made, your first multi 6 figures. I know guys out there that have from one product, one account, went out there and made 7 figures. And although this doesn't really even apply to me anymore, I've ran through so many products, I made all this money. But the point is thinking about it and kind of zooming out and seeing it in this perspective of the business model you're doing. And you're doing all these things over here. You have to run this product, run that product. I'm onboarding this product. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And it overwhelms you and it makes you feel like it's so much. And then that hurts your confidence. That hurts how much effort you're putting into it. That hurts you manifesting and visualizing you actually being able to get it done. When you zoom out and realize like it could be just one single product and one IG account that changes everything, it really helps you kind of chillax and realize like this isn't as complicated as I thought. Now my odds of winning are just as easy and just as simple. And even outside of that, just in general, organic is so much easier once not only you stop taking advice from people you shouldn't be taking advice from, you stop watching these dumb ass motivational videos of people driving M4s and vlogging their day in the life. And bro, that's not helping you at all. You are not learning shit from that. All that's doing is giving you dopamine for you to go out there and be in the same exact position you were 2 weeks ago, a month ago. And then that also leads to you being a dog shit entrepreneur. What you guys don't understand about when you're consuming this style of content, the penthouse flexing, just all this just bullshit, this non-educational content, this is going to lead to you being a bad entrepreneur because you have these unrealistic expectations of what it means to actually be that guy and become worth, $1 million, multiple millions of dollars. Because I can promise you, that's why you don't see me. Go look at my fucking channel. You don't see, I think there's like one video on there ever. And it was just the process of me getting my car, which was just a cool achievement. It wasn't even lifestyle flexing. Like it looked very realistic actually. But that's why you don't see me day in the life, blah, blah, blah. Motherfucker, I wake up and I'm here. I fucking wake up, I shower, and I fucking come here and I'm here. Then I go home, sometimes the gym, sometimes not the gym, and I go home and hang out with the family. That's my fucking day in the life, and I earn more than virtually all these guys out there that flex this lifestyle, because this is just the actual realistic side of making a shit ton of money with organic dropshipping, or just making money with business in general. And when you keep consuming all this dog shit that you keep watching with all these cool cars and all this, fun stuff they're doing, it makes you think that's what life is. It makes you think you're about to go do 6 figures a month and live like that. And so then when you do get your little win, you go out there and start trying to live like that. And you start trying to do what they do, and you're trying to impress all these random people you don't even know. Buying bullshit you can barely afford. Buying a $10,000 Rolex without even making a few $100,000 in profit. You're going out here, make your first $50K a month, and you're splurging $10K at the fucking mall. You go out here and make your first $20K a month, and you're trying to put a down payment on an M4. And then you're trying to do less work, and now your mind's like, oh my God, why isn't this making sense? All these other people and all this content I consume all the time is basically making me think. I start printing, and then I just have this life of luxury and doing all this shit to impress strangers on the internet, when that's just simply not how it works. Now I'm done with that rant, but dude, so many of you guys need to hear that, because the organic dropshipping space, above a lot of other business models, is somehow, some way filled with this shit. It's not even just the 16-year-olds. There's fucking 25-year-olds out here doing this shit. It's so unrealistic, and that's why you guys don't know shit and you're not getting anywhere, because you're just consuming a bunch of made up bullshit. But I'm done with that. Let's get back into what actually matters. And final thing, this is actually a fucking bar, but I want you to understand that organic is not a game of winning. It's a game of failing. So your job is to see how fast you can fail, because the more you fail, the closer you're getting to that one big win. And then your goal is to, after that big win, just compound that cycle as fast and as quickly as humanly possible. And once you internalize that, what I just went over, and understanding that, once again, organic is not a game of winning. It's actually a game of failing. The reason I say that is because technically you're failing a lot more than you are winning, even when you earn the numbers I do. So understanding that and coming to terms with that is gonna help you stop feeling so down when you fail. Stop feeling so down when a product doesn't work out. Stop feeling like you're not getting anything to happen. And you start recognizing all these failures and all these things that aren't making you money as just another stepping stone as you're on your way to that first big win or your next big win. I hope this helped a lot of you guys out there understand what it is you should be working on, what it is you should be doing properly when it comes to products, content, all these different things, and just overall the mindset you should have if you really, really want to make organic work at a high level. And also, once again, if you are interested in joining Per Mill's advanced organic dropshipping program, that link is going to be down below in the description. Hopefully you book a call with me and I see you there. But that's going to conclude this lesson. Hope you go out there and make a fuck ton more money with organic dropshipping after watching this, and I'll see you on the next one.